We all need time to unwind and set our minds free. Then, how do villages sound for you? Extensive landscapes of greeneries, humble neighborhoods with friendly faces and laid-back houses, and a getaway from air pollution and car honks. There are lots of villages in the world, giving a remarkably beautiful experience. It is true that the cities attract people with tall skyscrapers, expensive malls, and luxurious atmospheres. But the best way to experience the fundamental culture of a region is to travel around the smaller villages far from the big cities. Hallstatt, Austria. Hallstatt, a wonderful lake town located just 73 kilometers from Salzburg in the Salzkammergut district, Austria. Surrounded by the Dachstein Mountains, this ancient land of the Austrian Alps, which looks like something out of a Brothers Grimm tale, is the jewel of the region, declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1997. The easiest way to get there is by train from Salzburg, located about an hour away and very close to the German border. The entire route is of imposing beauty, surrounded by medieval castles, palaces, natural parks, and mansions of aristocrats who realize that we are in one of the most expensive regions of Austria. Once there, everything was like being in a fairy tale village. A cluster of houses huddled next to each other on the edge of the mountains gives me magic and fantasy. And it's easy to understand why it was the source of inspiration for the fictional kingdom of Arendelle from the Frozen saga. This blockbuster Disney film put this town on the radar of world tourism and became a must-see destination, which receives about 10,000 tourists per day with the desire to experience this film adventure up close. In summer especially, the town of no more than 778 inhabitants has been affected by the large number of tourists who flock to the place to take selfies and walk through its picturesque streets to the impressive mountainous landscape. That is why the mayor of the place is thinking of strategies to reduce the number of visits, and publicly asked that they let them live in peace. His plan is to reduce to 100 the number of annual tourist buses that arrive in the city, a figure that today is 10,000. The archaeological museum called Kulturerbe Hallstatt, with remains from the so-called Hallstatt era, 1300 to 1400 BC, where people learned about geology, religion, and the crafts of this beautiful place. The town square deserves a separate chapter, called Marktplatz. It has a unique fountain that serves as the main attraction. In one corner of the square is a pretty Lutheran church that was built around 1861 and is a popular attraction with visitors. And of course, a must is to visit the different historical buildings, a wide variety of restaurants that offer typical food of the city, and some shops where you can buy souvenirs. Popeye Village, Malta. Popeye Village, also known as Sweet Haven Village, is an immensely popular tourist attraction in Melieha, Malta. How did this construct of wooden and rustic buildings come to be, and how did it acquire its both local and international fame as a tourist hotspot? The village was purposely built as a film set, which was later converted into a small attraction fun park. the live-action musical feature film Popeye, produced by Paramount Pictures and Walt Disney Productions, brought famous actors Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall to film the movie on the island. With construction beginning in June 1979, a construction crew of over 165 workers built the village over 7 months. Hundreds of logs and thousands of wooden planks were brought from the Netherlands, whilst wood shingles were brought from Canada. A 60 to 75 meter breakwater was built around Anchor Bay's mouth to protect the set during the filming. Filming wrapped nearly 40 years ago. Since then, Popeye Village has transformed from a neglected film set to a theme park fit for the whole family. The set is open 7 days a week to the public, offering not just the film set as an attraction, but also several other experiences. With props and dresses from the original film, a boat trip around Anchor Bay takes visitors for a 15-minute ride whenever the weather permits. A cinema also shows a 15-minute audiovisual show detailing history and information about the filming and construction. Puppet shows also entertain visitors, especially children. The set also neighbors a beautiful bay known to be enjoyed by tourists and the Maltese alike. On February 9, 2023, the torrential rain inflicted on Malta by Cyclone Helios caused a large boulder to become dislodged from a cliff overlooking Popeye Village, causing significant damage to at least one of the film set structures. There were no reported casualties, as the attraction had been closed due to the storm. It was closed while the extent of the damage was assessed and repairs were carried out to prevent further danger. The location reopened on June 3, 2023. Cinque Terre, Italy. Cinque Terre is a rugged coastline on the Italian Riviera, composed of 5 beautiful hillside villages: Monterosso, Vernazza, Corniglia, Manarola, and Rio Maggiore. The 5 villages are connected by hiking trails open all year round. For the trails, Monterosso, Vernazza, Corniglia, you will need a Cinque Terre card. All other trails are free. The Cinque Terre express trains are running every 20 minutes between the 5 villages. You can also enjoy the scenic coastline by taking the ferry and hop on and off where you like. Cinque Terre's easternmost village, Rio Maggiore, is the largest of the 5 and acts as its unofficial headquarters. Its peeling pastel buildings march down a steep ravine to a tiny harbor, the region's favorite postcard view, and glow romantically at sunset, which is best appreciated from the sea. A botanical garden and bird-watching center sits on a rocky promontory up the hill from the pebbly Fossila beach. Bequeathed with more grapevines than any other Cinque Terre village, Manarola is famous for its sweet Siakatra wine. It's also awash with priceless medieval relics, supporting claims that it is the oldest village of the 5. The bustling main street and waterfront promenade are still lined with fishing boats and other such reminders of everyday village life. Punta Bonfiglio, a short uphill hike, has fabulous views and a playground with a bar. Corniglia is the quiet middle village that sits atop a 330 FT high rocky promontory, surrounded by vineyards. It is the only Cinque Terre settlement with no direct sea access, although steep steps lead down to a rocky cove. Narrow alleys and colorfully painted 4-story houses characterize the ancient core, a timeless streetscape that was name-checked in Boccaccio's Decameron. Its tranquil, tangled streets lead to a broad and breezy sea-facing terrace, the only vantage point from where you can see and photograph all 5 villages at once. To reach the village proper from the railway station, you must first tackle the Lardarina, a 377-step brick stairway, or jump on a shuttle bus. Vernazza's small harbor, the only secure landing point on the Cinque Terre coast, guards what is perhaps the quaintest and steepest of the 5 villages. Lined with little cafes, a main cobbled street, Via Roma, links seaside Piazza Marconi with the train station. Side streets lead to the village's trademark Genoa-style Carugi, narrow streets, where sea views pop at every turn. The only Cinque Terre settlement to sport a proper stretch of beach. The westernmost village of Monterosso is the least quintessential of the quintet. The village, known for its lemon trees and anchovies, is delightful. Split in two, its new and old halves are linked by an underground tunnel burrowed beneath the blustery San Cristoforo promontory. Ortahisar, Turkey. Ortahisar is a charming tourist destination, renowned for its hospitable locals, stunning stone houses, picturesque narrow streets, and magnificent churches. The town's namesake is the striking rock formation that resembles a castle, rising 90 meters above the ground. The castle has eroded over time, unveiling its interiors, and can be accessed via a staircase that provides a breathtaking view of the Ortahisar valleys and the snowy peak of Mount Ersayas. Located centrally among the popular tourist towns of Goreme, Urgup, Uchisar, and Nevşehir, Ortahisar is a favored stopover for travelers. The town boasts a natural air conditioning system, exemplified by the doors neatly carved into the rock surfaces that serve as cool air storage rooms, preserving local vegetables. Ortahisar is home to the Kambazli Church, a 13th century cross-and-square church adorned with beautiful wall paintings. Although it is now used as a storehouse, its history and artistry are still evident. Just outside the town, the Üzümlü Church features frescoes dating back to the 8th or 9th century AD, adding to the region's rich cultural heritage. Aside from the rock-carved edifices at its center, Ortahisar is characterized by humble structures with a rugged appearance. The upper houses are constructed of tough blocks and lack mortar. In earlier times, many buildings were utilized for food preservation. The larger structures, which stand only 1 or 2 stories tall, have an exterior staircase made of tough stone slabs. More recent examples, dating from the Roman era onward, are typically made of white marble mortar blocks, but differ in size and construction techniques depending on the region. For instance, the exterior walls consist of white limestone, capped with a simple cornice. To the northeast of Ortahisar is the monastery complex of Halis. This compound, centered around an enclosed courtyard, has entrances that are lower than the courtyard level. Oia, Greece. There are plenty of things to do in Oia, a Santorini village that entices travelers with a wealth of luxury hotels, a warren of whitewashed laneways, and one of the world's most iconic sunsets. Set atop an impressive cliff in the northwest of Santorini, the village offers a spectacular view across the caldera and the neighboring island of Thracia. Considered one of Europe's most romantic destinations, there's an undeniable appeal to this charming traditional village. Beyond the stony laneways and traditional houses that line the narrow streets is an abundance of sights waiting to be discovered. Whether you're looking for blue domed churches, aquamarine bays for swimming, or highlights of the island, Oia has plenty to offer. Sample the flavors of Santorini with an afternoon among vineyards, or dive into the cozy ambience of a quirky bookstore. The blue domes of the Agios Spiridonas and Anastasios churches in Oia are perhaps the most photographed roofs on Santorini. The two buildings are right next to each other and are iconic examples of the island's Cycladic architecture. There are a couple of great viewpoints along the alleyways west of the churches, and they often get crowded towards the end of the day as people secure the best spot for the perfect sunset photo. It's worth taking the time to look around during the day to find the many great angles. Combining the island's long and impressive history with stunning sunset views, Oia Castle is one of the most popular places to visit in Santorini. Also known as Fort Lonza, the castle was built sometime around the late 15th century as a deterrent to pirate raiders. It was the home of the Venetian rulers of Santorini, the Arghiri family. Sadly, the passing centuries and occasional earthquakes have left little of the once grand structure. What little there is offers a beautiful view out to the western horizon over Amudi Bay, making it an extremely popular place to watch the sunset from. You'll have to come quite early in the afternoon if you want to secure the best views. Amudi Bay is a tiny fishing village below Oia, with waterfront cliffs that are a magnet for adrenaline junkies. The water along this rocky shore gets very deep within a very short distance of the cliffs, so it's a relatively safe spot for testing your mettle, as safe as any 6-meter plunge into the sea can be anyway. The village itself is a great spot for seafood lunches and sunset drinks. The top cliff jumping spots are found down the coastal path to the south around the headland. One of the best and tallest cliffs is at the St. Nicholas Chapel, which is on a tiny offshore island, just a short swim away. Shirakawa-go, Japan. Shirakawa-go is famously known for its traditional houses with steep, thatched roofs surrounded by lush nature. There are actually 3 villages that still have this traditional architecture, but Ogimachi village has the most, while Ainakura and Suganuma villages are smaller and have fewer of these structures. The fairy tale-like villages are located at the foot of Mount Hakusan, one of Japan's 3 holy mountains, along with Mount Fuji and Mount Tateyama. Breathtaking, serene, and charming, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is definitely worth making a trip to. Although it's a beautiful destination all year round, Shirakawa-go's winter landscape is especially enchanting. A blanket of snow covers the entire area, and the locals ring in the season with an annual Shirakawa-go light-up event that makes the village look like it came straight out of a storybook. At Ogimachi, you can explore inside the traditional Gashozukuri-style houses. Gashozukuri means constructed like hands in prayer, which comes from the thatched roofs that resemble hands pressed together in prayer. The design allows the houses to bear heavy snow during the Shirakawa-go winter and create large attic spaces used for cultivating silkworms, which was the village's main industry. These houses are considered masterpieces because they were built without nails and have stood since the 1800s, even withstanding earthquakes. Some houses have been converted into museums for tourists to get a glimpse of the traditional way of living. But for an even more immersive experience, other Gashozukuri houses have also been turned into guest houses. You could also find small shops where you can purchase local souvenirs and try out local snacks and delicacies. Take note, though, that some residents still live in the village, so it's important to be respectful when you visit. Shirakawa-go is surrounded by wonderful scenery that changes depending on the seasons. It's covered in pure white snow in winter, but come springtime, it's a pastel dream of cherry blossoms. Then, sunny days of the summer season in Shirakawa-go are complemented by the surrounding lush landscapes. Of course, autumn will see the town covered with fiery brown and red leaves. This is also when they celebrate the Doboroku festival, where they offer locally made wine to the gods for a great harvest. Ait Ben Haddou, Morocco. The first thing that comes to mind when one hears the name Ait Ben Haddou is its famous Ksar, or fortified village. This Ksar, also known as the Ait Ben Haddou Kasbah, is a prime example of the traditional earthen architecture of southern Morocco. The Ksar is made up of 6 kasbahs, which are fortified dwellings for local leaders and their families. The walls of the kasbahs are made of earthen materials, such as mud, straw, and wood, giving them a unique reddish hue that blends seamlessly into the surrounding landscape. Walking through the narrow alleys of the Ksar is like taking a stroll through history. The Ksar is said to have been built in the 17th century and has still managed to preserve its traditional Berber architecture and way of life. Also a significant stop on the Trans-Saharan trade route, which links sub-Saharan Africa to the Mediterranean world. The Khazar served as a commercial hub where traders and caravans would stop for food, water, and shelter. Besides the Khazar, Ait Ben Haddou offers other exciting attractions that nature lovers and adventure seekers will surely appreciate. Trekking and hiking up to the top of the hill where the Ksar stands is also an unforgettable experience. The panoramic view of the surrounding valley is indeed breathtaking, especially at sunrise or sunset. If you're a fan of movies and television shows, Ait Ben Haddou is also a famous filming location. The Khazar has served as a backdrop for several Hollywood films, such as Lawrence of Arabia, Gladiator, and The Mummy. More recently, Ait Ben Haddou was also featured in Game of Thrones, where it doubled as the city of Yunkai. Visiting Ait Ben Haddou is like walking through a real-life movie set. In addition to its historical and natural attractions, Ait Ben Haddou is known for its vibrant culture. The locals are mostly Berbers, an ethnic group indigenous to North Africa, and for many, the Berber way of life is still very much alive. Visitors can witness traditional Berber music and dance performances, or visit a local market to purchase souvenirs and handmade crafts. The locals are warm and hospitable, and visitors are often invited to share a traditional Berber meal or cup of mint tea. Cua Van, Vietnam. Cua Van Fishing Village is situated in Hung Thang Commune, Ha Long City, Quang Ninh Province, about 20 kilometers away from Tuan Chau Tourist Pier. Located between Ha Long Bay and Lan Ha Bay, this place is home to over 176 households whose main livelihood is fishing. When visiting this Ha Long Bay fishing village, you will be amazed at the beauty and local life here. Thanks to its distance from the city center, Cua Van Floating Village can retain its natural charm and tranquility, offering visitors an idyllic atmosphere. One of the most famous travel magazines in the world, listed Kuavan Floating Village as one of the 16 most beautiful ancient villages in the world in 2012. Kua Van Fishing Village is located amidst the calm waters of Ha Long Bay, behind the stunning Vajia Rocky Mountain Range. This location makes it an ideal spot for boats to anchor. Visitors to this place will be amazed by the scene of a multitude of small boats and rafts anchored in front of colorful houses. One of the village's unique features is the construction of small houses, which are approximately 30 square meters in size and serve as homes for local fishermen. Each house boasts a vivid and striking color scheme, which is a distinctive characteristic of the area and attracts many curious tourists every year. Furthermore, the fishing village is surrounded by the rustic and charming natural beauty of Ha Long Bay, where one can experience tranquility without any traffic jams, only the sounds of small boats and local fishermen. This is a place to preserve the precious cultural values of this long-lasting fishing village. You will have the opportunity to learn about the history of the village via countless archaeological collections, including ancient fishing tools, as well as several documentaries and photos. You can discover a variety of activities with local residents, such as boat sailing, watching sunsets from a boat, listening to people sing, and squid fishing at night. The local people here are so warm and hospitable that you will always feel welcome when interacting with them. Kua Van Floating Village is the perfect place for adventurers to kayak and explore breathtaking caves at a closer distance. This place is famous for fishing activities, so it is not strange that you can find mouth-watering seafood here. Alberobello, Italy. Alberobello is a small Italian town like any other at a first glance. The streets are narrow and hilly, houses are white, the weather is pleasant, and life is slow. But if you take a closer look at some of the houses, you will think you landed in a fantasy book. Small houses with conical roofs are dotted everywhere around you. Upon closer investigation, you will find that these small dwarf houses are actually real and people still live in them. In case you have decided to see what a hobbit house could look like, you should go to Alberobello. The land of dwarf houses is a small town in Puglia, a region in southern Italy, not far from the city of Bari. The name of the city originated from the medieval Latin name of the region, Siva Arboris Belli, the wood of the tree of war. It is famous for its unique small historical houses called trullo. Trullo is singular, trulli is plural, is a round building topped with a conical roof made of limestone tiles. Trulli can be found throughout the Etrian Valley in Italy, but the densest population of trulli is in Alberobello. Trulli were originally constructed as temporary field sheds. They could be dismantled quickly to avoid taxation when the tax inspectors came to the area. In the 19th century, the trulli were no longer being dismantled, and most of the trulli we see today date back to the 19th and 20th century. On top of the trullo sits a pinnacle, the white ornament that sits on top of the conical roof. Some trullo have shapes drawn on the roof, which can be a primitive symbol, a Christian symbol, or a magical symbol. Within Alberobello, there are two main groupings of trulli. Rione Monti is the larger, more touristy area where you can see more than 1,000 trulli. Rione Aya Piccola is a smaller area that is quieter, less touristy, and gives you a sense of what Alberobello was like before it became this tourist mecca. Alberobello was added to the UNESCO World Heritage Site list in 1996. In Rione Monti, more than 1,000 trulli line the hilly streets and alleyways. Even so, it is a small area, and it only takes an hour or so to wander the streets. This part of Alberobello is very touristy, with large group tours lining the streets and tons of souvenir shops. When in Rione Monti, shop owners will sit or stand outside in the sunshine and try to tempt you inside for a look around. There's obviously a hope that you may buy something, but there isn't a hard sell, and it offers an opportunity to see how these buildings are structured inside. Tourism is clearly the lifeblood of the economy in Alberobello, so do try to contribute if you find something you like or want a souvenir. For a more authentic sense of what it means to live amongst the Trulli, head across to the Rione Aya Piccola district, which has 500 or so Trulli and is less commercialized. It was here where we enjoyed our time most, catching a glimpse of locals who still call these gnome-sized buildings home, and elderly groups of Italian men out for a stroll in the streets that were theirs long before the tourists arrived. It also affords you the best views over the clustered Trulli patches of Alberobello. Gassadalur Village, Faroe Islands. Gassadalur is one of the most isolated villages in the Faroe Islands of Denmark. This small village is home to a dozen people. Before the single tunnel road was completed in 2004, getting there was a difficult task. The only available options when visiting Gassadalur Village used to be a strenuous hike around the mountain, using a boat, or flying there in a helicopter. These were all challenging, expensive, or both, making it largely inaccessible. This almost made Gassadalur a ghost town. Over time, the village population declined every year. No one was willing to make the tricky journeys to this small village, sandwiched between two mountains at the corner of Vegar Island. Despite the picturesque features, Gassadalur almost collapsed due to its inaccessibility. Most people who walked to the Gassadalur had to go through the long, steep slopes of Eysturtundur Mountain. The extreme weather conditions made this forced hiking a hell on earth in winter. It would be best if you prepared for the hike, because it isn't a stroll in the park. There was a breakthrough when one of the single-lane tunnels through the Eysturtundur Mountain was completed in 2006. This road opened the small village to the world and is why many more people started visiting Gassadalur. The Mulafossur waterfall in Gassadalur is a must-see feature when visiting the Faroe Islands. It is one of the best sights because of its stunning view. The drops from this waterfall go straight into the Atlantic Ocean, creating a panoramic view worth your time. You also get to view the highest mountain on Vegar Island. Arnarfjall Mountain rises 722 meters in the air. The landscape around it is breathtaking. Most people who go to Gassadalur village head straight to the Mulafossur viewpoint to glimpse the waterfall. It is located about 300 meters from the main road, a gravel road that leads directly to this spectacular point. You can park your car right at the junction where the gravel road begins. The road to the waterfall viewpoint passes through a gate. This gate remains closed to stop sheep from coming down. You can see the waterfall from this point, but it is still not close enough for photography. Puffins are beautiful birds you can see in Gassadalur. You can see them if you hike to the Gassadalur viewpoint. Puffins are freaking cute. Their black coats, white breasts, and colorful beaks add to the panoramic view of Gassadalur village and surroundings. Hiking is one of the best activities you can do in this village. You should carry your camera to photograph memories of this stunning place. The short hike starts at the gate of the Gassadalur viewpoint. You then take a path crossing the waterfall on a small bridge across the Gassadalur village. From these points, you can see the beautiful views of the island of Mykines. Hobbiton, New Zealand. New Zealand is probably more famous for being the home of Hobbit and Middle-earth than our impressive landscapes, World Cup winning rugby team, or pretty much anything else. Hobbiton is the village in the Shire where the hobbits live in Lord of the Rings. Location scouts found a sheep farm in Waikato, North Island of New Zealand, in 1998, got in touch with the owner, and Hobbiton was born and then demolished. The initial set build was for the trilogy, but was knocked down once filming was complete. However, when it came time to film the next trilogy, The Hobbit, the production team built a permanent set, which is what you can visit today. You'll find a surprisingly large and incredibly well looked after movie set. It doesn't feel like a movie set though, due to the sheer scale. There are 44 Hobbit holes and the Green Dragon Inn, which serves drinks. You'll start the tour from Shire's Rest. This is where you park your car and buy tickets. You'll find a gift shop, bar, and cafe with awesome views there too. To visit Hobbiton, you must join an organized tour. You cannot drive there and walk around on your own. Make your way to Shire's Rest and park up. You then go in and either buy your tickets there or show them the tickets you've bought online. You'll then be asked to queue with your allotted group for your designated tour bus and will then be driven to the set. Your tour starts the second you get on the bus. Expect the entire tour to last 2 hours. Your guide welcomes the group and explains the process. You'll then watch a little intro on a TV at the front of the bus. After a 10-minute drive, you'll be dropped off and your tour will start. The groups can be large, but it doesn't feel rushed, so there's plenty of time to get the snaps you want. Your guide will chat about the films, sets, hobbit holes, and more as you're led around the set. You can peer into the hobbit holes, but there's nothing inside. All of the interior scenes were filmed in Weta Workshop. However, they are working on building interiors, so guests may be able to go inside from early this year. On the outside though, the attention to detail is phenomenal. Once you've walked through the entire set, you'll be taken to the Green Dragon Inn. It's a proper pub, and you'll be given a complimentary drink with a choice of real beer, cider, ale, or a soft drink like ginger beer. You're then given plenty of time to sit in front of the fire, buy some snacks, wander around, and chill out. Once you've finished, you'll be taken back to the bus and return to Shire's Rest. Staithes, England. The North Yorkshire seaside town of Staithes is just 10 miles from Whitby. It embodies many of the reasons why seaside towns hold such appeal. Once one of the busiest fishing ports on the northeast coast, Staithes boasts a long, proud history as the one-time home of famous Royal Navy captain and explorer Captain James Cook. Staithes is approximately 22 minutes drive from Whitby along the coast. Remnants of Cook's time here can be seen in many of the tourist attractions of today, including Captain Cook and Staithes Heritage Center. A recreation of the shop in which James Cook worked during his residency here, the museum is a treasure trove of over 200 books, engravings, letters, medals, and more, providing an insight into his incredible life and career, as well as into Staithes itself. You can also visit Captain Cook's cottage and the Captain Cook Inn, a lovely pub, restaurant, and hotel overlooking the sea. Famous for its real ales and great food, which includes a range of vegetarian and wheat-free options, you are sure to enjoy a relaxing stay, whether simply enjoying a bite to eat or staying the night. Don't forget to try their house ale, the Northern Navigator, brewed especially for the Captain Cook Inn by the nearby North Yorkshire Brewery. There is so much to do in Staithes for both young and old. Fans of art and history will love strolling through the pretty town's narrow cobbled streets and paying a visit to the elegant Staithes Art Gallery. Staithes is a magnet for artists who come to admire the beautiful coastal scenery, traditional fishing scenes, and village ambience, and immortalize them on canvas. The advent of the railway in 1883 brought a host of artists to Staithes, including Hannah Hoyland, Fred Mayer, and Harold Knight. Many paintings from local and visiting artists are on display at the gallery throughout the year. Look out for special exhibitions and showcases too. A popular activity whilst in Staithes is to explore the old village through its fascinating alleys and ginnels. Winding through the village's cottages and cobbled streets, each alley boasts a quaint name, such as Dog Loop Alley, the narrowest alley in the world, at just 18 inches wide. You will discover a different side to Staithes through each alley you visit, with lots of opportunities for taking a unique and quirky photograph of Staithes from all angles. A trip to the seaside wouldn't be complete without a bit of rock pooling in the abundant rock pools left at low tide between Staithes and Port Mulgrave, many of which are teeming with life that children especially will love to seek out. You will certainly find plenty of fossils and tiny marine creatures whilst exploring, and if you are lucky, you may even spot some seals sunning themselves along the shore. Staithes sits on what is known as the Dinosaur Coast, making it a favorite with fossil hunters, paleontologists, and dinosaur fans from across the country. You can choose to go on an organized fossil hunting trip, or for the more experienced, explore independently in and around Staithes and Runswick Bay. If visiting as a family, children will love their finds of fool's gold, little nuggets of iron pyrite which, to the untrained eye, look just like the real thing. Juscar, Spain. Located 113 kilometers away from the city of Malaga and 25 kilometers from Ronda, in the autonomous province of Andalusia, Juscar has become a hotspot for worldwide travelers and one of the most recognizable villages in Spain. Once a traditional white village, the picturesque hamlet changed its look in the summer of 2011, becoming the first and only official Smurfs village in the world. This creative idea was launched by Sony Pictures as part of the campaign to promote the Smurfs movie. Consequently, the locals agreed to paint the traditional Pueblo Blanco in bright blue. This was intended to be a temporary project, but the idea caught on so well that Juscar even started to organize a series of events and trade fairs related to the cheerful theme. Once with the village's dramatic transformation into a fairy tale realm, tourism started to develop in the area, and so the local economy. Thus, following a referendum organized by the mayor, locals voted to let it this way. If you wonder why Sony chose this sleepy village nestled in the hills of Andalusia for their world premiere, you should know that Juscar has a long mycology tradition, and the Smurfs are especially known for their craving for mushrooms. Each autumn, the picturesque area surrounding the village is brimming with all kinds of delicious fungi, making for a paradise for mycologists and nature lovers. The Smurfs village is also an excellent destination for culture, food, and outdoor adventures, with a good variety of hiking trails, culinary tours, and cultural excursions. Although the Genal Valley region in rural Andalusia, where Juscar is located, has always been famous for its scenic whitewashed villages sprinkled around. Nowadays, it stands out due mainly to the unusual Pueblo Pitufo, inspired by the famous Belgian cartoons. Nevertheless, the village's makeover doesn't mean Juscar has lost its charisma. On the contrary, life in the Smurfs village flows as slowly as ever, and the narrow, windy streets, bright blue walls, gentle locals, and time-honored traditions still retain their original Andalusian charm, only with a touch of color. Rhina, Norway. The breathtaking village of Rhine is located on the island of Moskenesøya on northern Norway's Lofoten archipelago. The picturesque fishing village Rhine, with its scenic landscape of Rhine Fjord and the small islands, is dotted with red fishermen's cottages and hugged in between steep mountains that rise straight up from the sea. It is one of Norway's most photographed villages, and you have probably seen photos from Rhine on Instagram. You could say that Rhine has become almost synonymous with Lofoten, as it is often chosen as the front cover of traveling books and brochures about Lofoten and Norway. Rhine consists of several small islands, all connected by bridges. There's Sakrasoya Island, where you'll find Anita's seafood restaurant and shop, famous for its fish burger. On the island Hamnøy is Eliassen Rorbuer accommodation, one of those iconic Rhine photo spots. Rhine is all about those fishermen's cabins, called Rorbuer in Norwegian, and this is the perfect place to stay at a traditional, now renovated and modernized, Rorbu. A boat trip on Rhinefjorden is a spectacular way to see Rhine and its surrounding landscape. You can get off the ferry at Vinstad and walk over to Boone's Beach, a hidden gem and one of Norway's most stunning beaches. The village has been a huge inspiration for artists and films like the Disney movie Frozen, and has been featured in theme parks like Disney's Epcot in Florida, which has a Norwegian pavilion, Legoland, which has built a mini version of Rhine in their theme park in Billund, Denmark, and Madurodam in The Hague in the Netherlands. You can do activities like hiking, kayaking, SUP, stand-up paddling, or go on a fishing trip. At Rhine Cultural Center, there is the Har Art Gallery, where you will find beautiful paintings by Eva Har. So bring your camera, mobile phone, and tripod, and head to Rhine to see those breathtaking Lofoten photos on Instagram. With your own eyes, you will not be disappointed. Rhine is almost as far west as you can get in Lofoten, and is a 2-hour drive from Svolvær city. If you take the ferry from Bodo to Lofoten, Rhine is the first village you reach, and your starting point for your Lofoten adventure. Sidi Bou Said, Tunisia. Located just north of Tunis, the capital of Tunisia, is the town of Sidi Bou Said. The entire town is located on top of a steep cliff, which overlooks the Mediterranean Sea. The view from Sidi Bou Said is absolutely phenomenal and will continue to amaze you throughout your entire trip. The entire town is simply beautiful, with flowers draped from almost every wall and doorway, and beautiful flowering vines hanging throughout the entire area. Sidi Bou Said is so beautiful, in fact, that many artists have taken up residence here. The town is also said to have inspired famous artist Paul Klee and famous writer André Gide. Sidi Bou Said is an excellent base of operations for your trip to Tunisia. Since it is located very close to Tunis, there is plenty of things to do in and around the town. The streets of Sidi Bou Said, most of which are quaint cobbled streets, are lined for the most part with souvenir shops, cafes, and art shops. The entire town has an intense feel of artistry and craftsmanship, and the locals are very proud of their town and don't hesitate to show it off. Much of the town is quiet and inhabited mostly by locals going about their daily business. Other areas are aimed more towards tourists. If you want to stay in one of Tunisia's nicest hotels, be sure to visit Darsaid in Sidi Bou Said. The hotel itself is amazing, rivaling popular Vegas and Hawaii hotels. And surrounding the hotel is an expensive district of quality restaurants and shops. Excellent views exist almost everywhere in Sidi Bou Said, and you'll find no shortage of activities to try. During the day, Sidi Bou Said is a thriving metropolis with tourists everywhere. It is a common stop for tour groups, most of which originate in the capital city of Tunis. At night, the town quiets down a lot and is very relaxing. There are tons of things to do in and around Sidi Bou Said. Exploring the Roman ruins of Carthage should be high up on your list of activities, as should visiting the souk, which is the local market. Vendors of all shapes and sizes gather daily to sell at the souk, and you can find some truly amazing and unique items here. While you can drive in Sidi Bou Said, much of the streets are crowded both with other cars and pedestrians. The best way to see the sights and truly let everything sink in is to walk around the city. Or you can find a vendor who rents out bicycles or mopeds and travels around like that. If you simply drive through the town, you will miss most of the sights that people come to Sidi Bou Said to see. Wengen, Switzerland. What if I told you there existed a village in the Swiss mountains where you could go back in time and live life at a slower pace, where you can really go along with the rhythm of nature, where the only sounds are the singing of the birds and the ringing of the bells of the cows, which stand quietly grazing on the slopes. Perched high above the Lauterbrunnen Valley at an altitude of 1,200 meters, Wengen is a fashionable yet traditional alpine village in the Bernese Oberland. It can only be reached by cogwheel train, making it traffic-free. Thanks to the absence of traffic, the village boasts pure mountain air. The local scenery of Wengen provides views of the entire Alps, including the famous Eiger, Munch, and Jungfrau mountains. There are over 500 kilometers of walking trails that are marked for guidance. 15 mountain cableways in the nearby surroundings lead to the most beautiful vantage points of the Jungfrau region. Apart from its spectacular alpine scenery, what adds to Wengen's uniqueness is that it is an entirely car-free village. To reach it, you have to take the Wengeralp Railway ascending up the mountain. This characteristic adds to the region's calming appeal. Wengen is located in the canton of Bern and is a part of the famous Jungfrau region. Great for hiking all year long and skiing during the winter, this quaint village will serve as your perfect getaway with its fairy tale backdrop. When it comes to dining in, there is no shortage of options in Wengen. Most of the restaurants are located within hotels, which means you won't have to look far for quality food. There is plenty to do in both the winter and summer months. In summers, you can enjoy hikes up and around the mountains at varying difficulty levels. There are many easy day hikes for children, making Wengen a nice family-friendly destination. While the resort is open for tourists year-round, the best time to visit Wengen is in June to October. The weather hovers around 20 degrees Celsius, and rain is scarce, so you get plenty of sunshine. The most popular months, however, are the snowy months of December to March, which attract twice as many tourists as the summer. The weather is freezing, which is perfect for snowboarding, skiing, and other winter sports. During the winter, Wengen is the ideal starting point for the family-friendly ski region of Kleinscheidegg-Männlichen with 110 kilometers of easy to medium difficulty pistes. The neighboring ski areas of the Jungfrau region are also close by. For many, the world-renowned World Cup race down the Lauberhorn to Wengen is the highlight of the FIS ski race season. Burano, Italy. The secret of Burano has been out for a while, and it gets plenty of tourists due to its proximity to Venice. Everyone visits this unique island in Italy to capture photos of the pretty homes painted in different colors: pinks, blues, yellows, greens, purples. The island also has a system of canals. Wandering around Burano, you'll find little old ladies placing laundry out to dry, or peering down at kids and tourists from their multicolored windows framed by flower boxes. Little bridges span the small canals and connect streets, and the island's main square Piazza Galuppi is full of souvenir shops, seafood restaurants, and bars. There are no cars on Burano. Locals get around on foot, bicycle, or boat. It's actually kind of similar to the cave city of Madara in that way. Why are the houses on Burano painted bright colors? Apparently, it was to help returning fishermen see their homes from the water, as well as to distinguish property lines, as most of the buildings are connected to each other. But I really have to hand it to the residents of the island. They chose some fantastic colors to paint their homes. The island's population hovers around 2,000 people, and these days, the main income is from tourism. People travel here from Venice as a day trip to photograph all the colorful homes on the island. Most visitors arrive in the late morning and leave in the afternoon because they are staying at hotels in Venice. So there are a few hours when you can have the island to yourself, if you time it right. Honestly, there's not a whole lot to do on the island, other than taking photos of the pretty homes. But that in itself is worth the ferry ride over. A focal point on the island is the leaning bell tower of San Martino Church, located in the main square. This bell tower is slowly sinking in the wet ground, and you can see it from many parts of the island. Because this is an island made up of fishermen, it's natural they have tons of fresh fish to eat. Make sure to try some squid ink pasta or Italian seafood risotto. The main street is lined with restaurants, like the famous Al Gatto Nero da Ruggero and Trattoria da Primo e Paolo. Bibury, England. If you're looking for a quaint, picturesque village to visit in the Cotswolds, then Byberry is it. A series of two gorgeous hamlets that are split by the River Colne. On one side of the stream, you have Byberry, and on the other side, you have Arlington, Rack Isle, and Awkward Hill. William Morris once said that Byberry was assuredly the most beautiful village in England, and I can't say I disagree with him. It's like walking through an old oil painting hanging in a gallery. From the honeystone cottages of Arlington Row, scenic strolls along the Colne, some quintessential country pubs, and cozy tea rooms. There are plenty of things to do in Byberry that make it worth visiting. You couldn't get more quintessentially Cotswolds if you tried. The village is known for its honey-colored 17th century stone cottages with steeply pitched roofs, which once housed weavers who supplied cloth for fulling at nearby Arlington Mill. Until the 1980s, that building also housed the Museum of Arlington Mill with a collection of period clothing, before it was shifted to Barnsley House. The mill is now a private residence. The place where the wool was hung to dry after being washed in Arlington Row was known as Rack Isle. Today, this water meadow and marshy area, which is seasonally flooded and surrounded by water from three sides, is an important habitat for water-loving plants and birds, including mallards, coots, and moorhens. It is also a National Trust wildfowl reserve. Byberry is particularly frequented by Japanese tourists. This is largely attributed to Emperor Hirohito having stayed in the village on his European tour. The largest building in Byberry is Byberry Court, built in 1633 in the Jacobean style. It is a Grade 1 listed building and was recently a hotel. The hotel is now closed permanently with its future unknown. Previously, it was inhabited by Lord Sherborne when in 2008 it was bought by John Lister of Shipton Mill Organic Flour. Colmar, France. Dazzling colors, canals, the wonder of half-timbered buildings that look like a perfect illustration. These are the things of Colmar, France. Colmar was apparently the inspiration for the village in the Disney film Beauty and the Beast, and it's not hard to see why. Walking through its streets is like seeing childhood fairy stories come to life. There's a wooden turret, which would be just perfect for Rapunzel to let her hair down from, tiny cottages that would make the ideal home for 7 dwarfs, and a candy-colored bakery that Hansel and Gretel would love to get their teeth into. In real life, Colmar is a small town which is located in the Alsace region of northeast France. The Alsace is where France meets Germany, and ownership of the region has been passed back and forth between the two countries over the years. It was the last town in France to be liberated at the end of the Second World War and has been a part of France ever since. But its history means it's no surprise that you can see a German influence in Colmar's architecture, culture, food, and drink. Colmar is the perfect place to wander around and see what you come across. The locals seem justifiably proud of their homes, and everything is neatly painted and maintained. Some buildings are decorated with hanging lamps, clocks, and hearts. Then, there are a few who've taken it to the extreme by hanging bikes, chairs, and who knows what else out front. In Colmar, it seems your house is an artwork, as well as a place to live. Among the houses are a mix of cute boutique shops, selling local produce like chocolate and wine, as well as art and antiques. Some shops have ornate wrought iron signs hanging over the street to show what they sell. Then there are also plenty of waterside cafes and tucked-away cellar restaurants. And if you're visiting Colmar at Christmas, the streets are draped with lights and filled with market stalls selling local food, drink, and gifts. The town does have a few museums to explore, including the Unterlinden Museum with its famous 16th century Isenheim altarpiece. There's also a toy museum and the Bartholdi Museum, in the house where local artist Frederick Auguste Bartholdi was born. Bartholdi is most famous for creating the Statue of Liberty, and you can find a 12-meter-high replica of it on the road between Strasbourg and Colmar, a few miles out of town. Also worth a visit is Gothic St. Martin's Church with its colorful tiled roof and 13th-century stained glass. The Pfister House is one of Colmar's most distinctive buildings with its wraparound wooden balcony and octagonal turret. And the Kooifoos was the town's former customs house, built at the meeting point between two major streets. There's barely an ugly building in the center of Colmar, but things reach peak prettiness in the area near the Quai de Poissonnier, which has been nicknamed Petit Venice. Colmar's Little Venice is where you'll find that picture-perfect row of half-timbered houses, painted in pastel shades of pink, yellow, and sky blue running alongside the canal. Fenghuang Ancient Town, China. The ancient town of Fenghuang is located in the southwest corner of the west of Hunan Province, in China, at the foot of a mountain along the banks of the Tuojiang River. The town is exceptionally well preserved, untouched by modernization, harboring unique ethnic languages, customs, arts, and many distinctive architectural remains of the Ming and Qing styles. The typical building in Fenghuang is called Diaojiaolu, which is a unique wooden house built along the riverbank. When seen from a distance, the houses look like hanging on the river. This design is to protect the house from the flooding situation in Tuojiang River in the old time. A part of the Ming Great Wall is a unique scene here. In the Ming Dynasty, the Southern Great Wall was built to prevent the local Han Chinese from the invasion of the Miao minority. Nowadays, Miao people have become a part of Chinese ethnic groups and get on well with Han people. So Fenghuang Ancient Town is also a place to experience Chinese ethnic culture. Tuojiang River is of great importance for people in Fenghuang Ancient Town, which is honored as the mother river of the town, feeding the Fenghuang people from generation to generation. Women dressed in ethnic customs can be always seen washing clothes by the river, and men fishing in the river, while on the bank food is prepared in much the same way as it has for centuries. Tuojiang River also provides a chance for boatmen to make their living by ferrying visitors up and downstream for sightseeing. And taking a boat is a good way to see how Diaojiaolu building stands along the river and get close to the local life. The scenery on both sides of the Tuojiang River attracts people's attention as well. The southern bank of the river is the ancient city wall, built with purplish red sandstone, making it elegant and majestic. Stilted buildings built along the river are the outstanding representative of the culture of Tujia people. Rafting on the river, listening to the boatman's clear folk songs and looking at the quaint stilted buildings, a sense with the serenity of return to nature arises spontaneously. The ethnic colors of Tujia and Miao people are also one of the major attractions. You will see some old women wearing their ethnic costume, standing beside the lanes and selling specialties. Facing the north gate of Fenghuang Ancient City, the stepping stone is a unique channel connecting the two sides of the river, which is formed by two rows of independent square stone piers. Like its name, crossing the river through the stepping stone, you need to jump each step, and the crystal clear Tuojian River flows under your feet. How exciting! This is also one of the most popular shooting spots in Fenghuang. Taking the front gate in Beijing City as example, the East Gate Tower is a two-storied architecture. The lower section of the town gate is made of the mauve sandstone, and the upper section is made of the old bricks. It is 3.5 meters wide and 4 meters high. It looks like a semi-arch. The frame structure of the tower is a combination of the beam-supporting structure and the through-type timber frame. The former residence and tomb of the renowned Chinese writer Shen Kongwen is arguably the most popular site in the town. Palangan, Iran. The Palangan village, also known as the Lost Paradise of Kurdistan, is a historical village in Kurdistan province in the west of Iran. The Palangan village is composed of stone-made houses built in staircase architecture descending the mountain slope. This village is a valuable property to the local people of Kurdistan province, and because of its unique structure, visitors from all around the globe come to see this extraordinary location. Palangan village is one of the best sightseeing spots in Kamiaran, one of the cities of Kurdistan province. Kamiaran city is situated on the border of this province and Kermanshah province, which is at the start of the Huraman region. The distance between Kamiaran and Sanandaj is 43 miles, and the distance between Palangan and Kamiaran is 35 miles. The captivating village of Palangan is located in a mountainous area and at the foot of the Shahu Heights, with a beautiful and scenic nature where travelers can find peace and quiet during their visit. The southwest of this village is surrounded by the mountains of Kol and Serlu, and the southeast is surrounded by Zaman Griva Gorge. The village is about 10-20 meters above sea level. The Palangan village has a moderate and dry climate and welcomes many tourists in spring and summer with mild and pleasant weather. In autumn and winter, despite the village's cold weather, it has beauty and inspiration of its own. Palangan village dates back to the time before the Islamic period in Iran. Moreover, due to the village's one-of-a-kind structure, Iran has registered this location in the country's national heritage list. In Persian, the word palang means leopard. In the past, leopards used to live in the mountains of this area, and for this reason, the locals call it Palangan, which means leopards. The word pal in Kurdish means support or something to lean on. This is why the name of this village is related to leopards. When you enter Palangan village through a dirt road, you will see the unique scenery of tall oak trees and the agricultural land. It will feel like you are driving into another world. For this reason, this dirt road is known as the entrance to the hidden paradise. Palangan is a terraced village with welcoming Kurdish families who live in stone-made houses next to each other cordially. The houses are built on both sides of the Tangavar Valley. In this village, there are no multi-storied houses or apartment buildings. Rather, you will come to see houses on both sides of the valley and its eastern and western slopes. While strolling inside the village's porches and yards, you will see women and girls in their local and colorful clothing who are getting prepared for their daily work. In the afternoon, the locals set up an evening table and sometimes spend their time chatting with other women in the neighborhood after returning home from an exhausting day on the farms.